Hey YouTubers, it's me, Monkeydragon here, helping all your green goblins out there. Well, anyways guys, today's video is not a tips and tricks video. It is probably, as you guessed from the title, it is about the Sony PS4 or WII. Oh yeah. Anyways, they're changing the controller to more of a Wii U type of controller. If you haven't seen the Wii U controller, or if you lived underneath a rock for a couple months, here's an image of the Wii U controller. As you can see, it almost looks like a tablet with a couple buttons on it. It almost looks like a gaming version of a tablet. Anyway, image be gone. And I don't really like that. My problems with the Wii U tablet, from my own experience when I've used it, is there's one scenario when you were using it, is one, when you were using the tablet, it was, or yeah, it pretty much was a tablet, but anyways, when you were using it, some games, all you did was look at the controller. That's all you did for the entire, you didn't even look at the TV screen. You were entirely looking down at the controller, just playing your game. And like vice versa, sometimes you didn't even use the screen on the controller at all. It was entirely based on the TV. There was not one instance to where you needed to use the controller, the screen on it, in order to play the game. Another problem I had with it is that it wasn't really like a console game anymore. Because a console game, you know, they have a controller. And that's more like a tablet. It doesn't feel right playing a console-based game when you're holding a tablet in your hand. It doesn't feel right. When I was holding it, it didn't really feel like I was playing a console. It felt like I was playing some weird kind of live streaming tablet-based stuff. You know what I mean? It didn't really feel like a console, because like I just said, when you're playing a console, you're holding a controller, and that felt like a tablet. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I hate the idea or I don't think it has potential, because if you were to imagine for me, if you will, just for a moment, we're playing Fallout 3, and we're walking through the desert, and we walk up to a merchant, and now we're going to go sell some stuff. So we push the button to hit inventory, and boom, on our controller, we have our whole inventory right there. We can choose what we want to sell, we can choose what we want to buy from him, we can switch between everything a lot more effectively and efficiently with the touchscreen controller. Because with that, we wouldn't have to use the joystick in order to select things, you know, use all these buttons. But with the touchscreen controller, just boom, cycle through. Think about when you're cycling through, you know, like your tweets on your iPhone or whatever. If you have a touchscreen iPhone, just think of all the things you could do with it. Imagine it just like that when you're going through the inventory. Okay, this, down, swirl through. Okay, this, sell. It would be a lot faster. It would be a lot better experience. And that's okay. You know, I really like that idea. If they can make that work efficiently, that's wonderful. And that's my next point that I want to get to. I don't want it to be a strain on the developer in order for them to try to make this controller work with their game. Because if they have to write like some kind of extra line of coding or something in the game in order to somehow make the controller work within using the game, but we sacrifice something else, I don't like that. Like say there was 2 other guns that they're going to add, but instead when you're controlling your Reaper, you're going to be looking down at your controller. You see what I'm saying? If they had to use that space, say that you lost 2 of your most favorite guns in the game or something like that. You lost some of these guns because they didn't have the memory to put in for those guns or whatever, and they had to add the code in to make it to where you use your Reaper or your kill streak server that you're looking down at your controller. See, I don't want that kind of strain on the developer to either try to force it or not use it, because if they're going to put it, I want it there to be used in all the games. I want it to be made effectively, because if developers aren't going to be using it, then why put it there? Why even use it at all? And if you are planning to use it, then I want to make sure that it's not going to be at a cost at something. And that's almost my whole bit on this thing, is the cost of actually changing it in to a screen-based controller, is the cost of what it might be used if you have to change it from one thing to the other. Another thing is, I don't know about you guys, but when I use this PS3 controller or a Sony controller, it feels right in my hand. It feels like a normal controller. It feels like a good thing. It feels natural, rests nicely and everything. And if you look at all the Sony controllers, they all look relatively the same. They have not changed much over the years. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying, oh, it's old. I'm saying that's good. It has a brain. When you pick up a Sony controller, no matter what year that they were using it, although the size and everything might change slightly, it still has that same feel when you hold it in your hand. The best way I can describe it to you is, if you're from Xbox or whatever, is when I use an Xbox controller, it doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right that the left joystick is up at the top instead of, because they pretty much switched the D-pad with the left joystick, just in case you guys don't know. And it doesn't feel right that it's thicker or that it's wider. It just doesn't feel as natural it is. because I've been playing Sony games for so long. And if you guys are planning to buy this PS4, you're more than likely a Sony fan. You're probably not, you know, a new Sony person. You're not probably, oh, a new console, I'm going to go ahead and spend $500. You're probably a big-time fan and you want to get the next one to almost show your support to the brand that you've come accustomed to. And like I just said, you've grown almost accustomed and adapted to this almost type of controller. You've grown to use that controller, to that feel of the controller. And I don't want the cost of, you know, adding a screen to it to changing that, because I couldn't play the Wii U for hours on end like I do on the PS3, because I would imagine holding that tablet, no matter how comfortable or whatever you make it is, it wouldn't be the same as holding a PS3 controller. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is Sony almost has this brand for controllers, and if you're planning to add a screen to it, I don't want you to change that brand. If you could almost, if you would imagine, take the PS3 controller, split it in half, maybe stretch it out, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, and then go ahead and make the screen, you know, right there, make it fit right there, I would almost be okay with it. I would have to be able to hold it. I would be okay with them doing something along lines of that, as long as it didn't look too cheap or fake or just phony, you know what I mean? It didn't look like, wow, that they just split it in half and put the screen between it. Make it flow cohesively. That would be okay with me if they were to do that. But when you're making a screen, I don't want it to be so large to where it almost feels like I almost have to hold this like mini TV in my hand. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so small where you can't read. I understand that there probably is like a fine line, like almost like a mini iPad or whatever, you know, something just like 4 or 5 inches, something would be fine. But you also have to make sure that it still has that original feel of the Sony controller. And that's what I want to get at, is I don't want it to be too wide, too far, and that's what almost this last part of the whole video is the feel or the branding of the Sony controller that everyone has gotten used to and then to everyone has gotten loved. Because honestly, guys, what would you rather prefer? A screen on the controller, and, you know, it's great, it's wonderful or whatever, but at the cost to where it no longer feels like a Sony controller? Would you guys like that? Put in the comments. I honestly want to know. Would you want them to add the screen to the controller, but it no longer really feels or looks like, obviously it wouldn't look like the PS3 controller. It didn't really have that kind of feel. And I would almost imagine that they wouldn't be able to put DualShock in if they were to put all these cablings in with the screen, because I would imagine with the vibrations, I don't know, I'm not exactly a tech expert, but I would imagine with the DualShock controller that it wouldn't be good for the screen, so I would almost imagine that they'd take that out. I don't know personally, I just thought of that right now, so I don't know if that's a thing, but anyways, so would you guys be okay with that? Them adding a screen, but it no longer feels like a PlayStation controller. It no longer feels like that Sony kind of brand that you've all gotten adapted and used to. Don't get me wrong though, I really like this idea. I think if they can make it work right with, you know, taking into consideration of everything that is there, that if they can make it work right, I think it'd be a wonderful addition. As long as they're going to make it so that it's not too strenuous on the producers or the developers of the games, to where, you know, now they got to worry about how they're going to include this weird screen onto their games, and then now it either not so much like delays the game, but you know what I mean, now it's like some other extra burden that they have to do. And that now it's, oh, dang it, now I gotta freaking put in some code or add some feature into the game to where you use this stupid screen. Why did they ever put this there? And as long as they didn't remove the feel of the natural PlayStation 3 controller, because like I said before, over the years it hasn't changed much, and that's what I like. It has that kind of natural feel to it. I wouldn't feel comfortable holding a tablet in my hand trying to play a console, because when you're playing a console, you're supposed to have a controller, not a tablet. But anyways, guys, we kind of reached the end of my rambles and my commentary, you know, just me rambling on, being an old man saying I don't want any change. But I really do like the idea of the change, and if they make it work right, once again, I'll be ever so grateful to Sony that they made an improvement on their ever so wonderful company. Yay! But put in the comments below if you guys think this is a good idea, bad idea, if you're okay with them changing the feel of the controller because they're adding a screen to it and it's going to be a really cool, neat idea. Put in the comments below. I honestly want to hear your guys' opinion. This is honestly, out of all my videos, this is one that I really want to hear about, because this is honestly kind of affecting me and you, because I'm assuming that, like, 98% of all my subscribers and people who watch my videos are PlayStation players. So I'm really assuming that this really does affect all of you guys, and I really would like to hear you guys' input. But anyways, guys, so we understand in my commentary. So like the video if you liked it, Or if you found it helpful, subscribe to me if you want to see more of my videos. And don't forget to tell your friends about me, because who wouldn't want to win 20 bucks? And if you want to stay updated on all my videos and everything that I'm doing, follow me on Twitter. It's at xXMonkeyDragon. A link to it will be in the description. I'm Monkeydragon. That's all I got, guys. Peace.
I'm about to throw up.
Big win, job done.